Alright guys, so you've signed up to the best iOS development course in the world. And you're going to find out very shortly why over 17,000 people have rated this course 5 stars. But in order to get the most out of the course, there's a couple of things I want to draw your attention to. Firstly, the majority of the course is going to be dedicated to programming and learning iOS development. But there are also full modules on app design and app marketing, which will supplement your knowledge on the entire process of app development. So be sure to look through the curriculum to find these extra modules, and you can work through it alongside the coding tutorials. So very often, I find that students do best when they do a little bit of programming and then switch their mind to a different problem, such as learning some design skills or learning some marketing skills. So feel free to dip between the design, marketing, and coding parts of the course. Now, while you're learning iOS development, I tend to recommend that students code on your main computer. Now, this is just my recommendation, but I find that students benefit a huge deal if you can watch these lectures on a separate device. So that can be an iPad, or that could be another laptop, or it could be even a Windows computer. It doesn't really matter. But having the tutorial videos side by side with the code allows you to more easily compare the code and also code along and complete the challenges in the tutorials. Now, while you're watching the tutorials, I find that it's helpful to have a small notebook to note down some of the things that you might want to do a bit of background research on, or you might want to read up more on. Something that's mentioned in the tutorials that you find fascinating, or something that you just want to understand more deeply. So having that there is also really useful. Now, at the beginning of the course, you should have already downloaded the entire syllabus. If you haven't, you can head over to the giant course resources list, and right at the top, the first link will be pointed towards this PDF. And in this syllabus, I've documented all of the skills that we're going to be acquiring as we're building apps and as we're progressing through the course. Now, I find that it's really helpful when students refer to the syllabus and just check off as they go along the things that they are comfortable with. So for example, in the second module, when we learn about the Xcode interface builder, you can see that some of the learning points include things such as how to size UI elements or how to arrange UI elements by setting coordinates. So I'm going to be showing you how to do this in the tutorials. And once you're certain that you've acquired these skills and understand each of the syllabus points, then you can go ahead and just check it off. Now, some of these things might require a couple of reviews. So you could mark it for a review at a later date, or you could come back to it. And that way you'll be able to keep track of the skills that you're acquiring, but also which parts need further review. Now, the coding tutorials were built so that it's a little bit like taking a hike up a mountain. And the slope is carefully designed so that each new tutorial builds on the previous one. So it's really essential that you don't skip coding tutorials, and instead you complete the curriculum in the order that it was designed. And this is really important because I know that when I look at a new course and I see something really exciting like learning machine learning, then I'm really tempted to just head straight there. But it's really, really important that you resist this temptation. Do each of the tutorials in sequence. Because of the fact that everything builds on top of the previous tutorial, then it's very easy to get stuck and get frustrated when you jump around in the curriculum. Now, in the course, there's also a whole bunch of coding challenges, and the challenges are there to make the process of learning iOS development feel a little bit less like school learning and feel a little bit more like a video game. So that means that there's plenty of small coding challenges dotted all over the course that are kind of like, the skeletons in your video games. You're pretty confident that you can slash them down. It doesn't take too many hits before you can beat them. But then there's also end-level boss fights, and these are kind of meant to be a little bit larger of a challenge. So you'll be building an app by yourself, or you'll be completing a longer coding challenge. And this is so that not only can you prove to yourself that you've understood the concepts in the tutorials, but also just providing that little bit of extra challenge that makes everything a lot more fun and really tests your skills and pushes you to level up as a programmer. Now, for those of you guys who are learning programming for the very first time, then I tend to liken the process of learning programming to a bit like putting a puzzle together. Because in the very beginning, I'm going to be presenting you with the corner pieces, and then I'm going to give you the side pieces, and then finally I'm going to give you more of the center pieces. And at the beginning, it's very difficult to see the bigger picture, right? You're only seeing the outer edge. But as you add more pieces, as you increase your knowledge and your understanding of different concepts in programming, at some point during the course, you're going to have an aha moment where the picture suddenly becomes more and more clear, and you realize the relationship between all of these different programming concepts and how they fit together. So the important thing is to be patient, and if a concept is particularly challenging, then continue for a few more modules and then coming back and reviewing that same concept a little bit later on, so that by the end you'll gain a complete picture of iOS development and Swift programming. Oh, and one last thing. If you find that I talk too fast or too slow, then if you look at the bottom of the video player, there are settings where you can speed me up so that I talk really fast like this, or you can slow the video down so that I talk a little bit slower like this. So depending on which way you learn best, feel free to change the speed of the videos so that it suits you. So I hope that's helpful in guiding you through the course and a little bit of a sneak peek of what's to come. But the thing I want to emphasize is that you're not doing this alone. There's loads of other students on the student communities who you can chat with and share your experience, help each other. And also, I'm going to be here for you every step of the way. So in the next lesson, I want to talk about how you can get help at any point through the course. So see you over there.